Bill tackled each challenge like a pro, breaking it down step by step with laser focus. High triglycerides felt like yet another puzzle to solve in the world of engineering. But after 40 years in the game, he was still being misled. So, here's the twist. The real villain in our diets wasn't fats at all. It was sugar. Can you believe it? It was a journey that spanned 6 long weeks, filled with twists and turns, until he finally uncovered this profound truth. For 4 incredible decades, Bill Henderson tackled some of the most complex engineering challenges for aerospace companies in Seattle, leaving a mark on the industry that few could rival. At 62, fresh off his retirement from Boeing, he tackled every challenge with a methodical approach. First, he would gather all the data, then dive deep into analyzing the variables. Next, he pinpointed the root cause, rolled out a solution, and finally, measured the results to see how it all played out. When Bill got the news from his annual physical that his triglycerides were a staggering 800, over 5 times what they should be, he approached it just like any other challenge that needed a solution. Your triglycerides are dangerously high, Dr. Patricia Wong revealed during his follow-up appointment, the weight of her words hanging in the air. You want to keep those levels under 150. When you hit that 800 mark, things start to get really serious. We're talking about major risks for pancreatitis and heart disease. It's a wake-up call you can't ignore. Bill reached into his bag and pulled out a small notebook, the very same kind he had relied on for his engineering projects over the years. So, what's behind this rise and how do we fix it? Dr. Wong couldn't help but admire Bill's methodical approach. It was like watching a master at work, each step carefully planned and executed. You could see the dedication and precision in every move he made, and it left a lasting impression on everyone around him. Most of the time, it's dietary fat that's to blame. So, here's the deal. If you want to make a change, you've got to cut back on those saturated fats. Say goodbye to red meat, swap in some low-fat dairy, and steer clear of fried foods. Trust me, it's a game changer. I'm also going to prescribe some medication to help bring those numbers down fast. Bill meticulously jotted down every recommendation, as if he were an engineer crafting the ultimate blueprint. That evening, he launched into what he dubbed Project Triglyceride, a detailed strategy aimed at fine-tuning his blood chemistry. He dove headfirst into the low-fat lifestyle, pouring the same passion and energy into it that he once dedicated to crafting aircraft components. So, here's the scoop. Bill decided to make some serious changes in his diet. He kicked butter to the curb and brought in margarine instead. Then, he swapped out whole milk for skim milk, saying goodbye to the creamy goodness. Red meat. Gone. He completely eliminated it from his meals. And to top it all off, he went for fat-free versions of just about everything. Talk about a transformation. Every day, he followed a meticulously planned, low-fat regimen. So picture this. You wake up in the morning, and the first thing you do is head to the kitchen. You grab some fat-free yogurt, sprinkle it with crunchy granola, and pour yourself a refreshing glass of orange juice. It's the perfect start to your day. So, picture this. It's lunchtime, and I'm diving into a delicious turkey sandwich stacked high on whole wheat bread. I slather on some fat-free mayonnaise for that perfect creamy touch. And to wash it all down, a refreshing sports drink to keep my energy up. Yum. So picture this. A delicious dinner featuring perfectly grilled chicken breast, fluffy brown rice, and vibrant steamed vegetables. And just when you think it can't get any better, there's a sweet ending with some fat-free frozen yogurt for dessert. Yum. So, I've been sticking to my plan for 2 weeks now. And guess what? I'm basically eating no fat at all, Bill exclaimed to his wife Carol. I think this is going to work. When Bill came back for his 6-week follow-up, the results left everyone scratching their heads. His triglycerides had taken a small dip, going from a staggering 800 to 720, still in the danger zone. Dr. Wong's eyes widened in disbelief. A lot of patients experience greater benefits when they make changes to their diet. All right, it's time to boost your medication dose and stick with that low-fat strategy. Bill walked out of the appointment feeling totally frustrated. Throughout his engineering journey, every time he stuck to the right methodology, the results were nothing short of predictable. This was a whole new vibe. It was as if he was overlooking a key piece in his puzzle. That evening, Bill took a deep dive into his triglyceride issue, treating it like a critical investigation into a malfunctioning aircraft part. He was determined to uncover the root cause and tackle it head-on. He dove into the world of triglycerides, applying the same level of dedication and curiosity that he had when he was unraveling the complexities of hydraulic systems. What he stumbled upon turned his entire understanding of Dr. Wong's teachings upside down. So, here's the scoop. Multiple peer-reviewed studies have shown that it's not just dietary fat that raises triglycerides. Crazy, right? Let's dive into what this really means. They found themselves on a high from carbohydrates, particularly sugars and refined carbs that the liver transformed into triglycerides for later use. This doesn't make sense, Bill said, frustration creeping into his voice as he flipped through study after study, searching for answers. So, here's the deal. The data was clear and consistent. It turns out that it's not the fats that are causing the problem. It's actually the excess carbohydrates that are the main culprits behind those elevated triglycerides. Crazy, right? Bill suddenly had an epiphany. He'd been tackling the completely wrong issue all along. What he thought was a low-fat diet turned out to be a sneaky high-carbohydrate plan packed with hidden sugars. He whipped out his notebook, ready to dive into a fresh perspective on his usual daily intake. Did you know that a glass of breakfast orange juice packs a whopping 36 grams of sugar? That's a lot of sweetness to kickstart your day. Imagine this, you're reaching for that fat-free yogurt topped with crunchy granola. But wait, did you know it packs a whopping 45 grams of sugar and refined carbs? It's a tasty treat, but definitely one to think twice about. So picture this, it's lunchtime and you grab a sports drink. But wait, did you know it packs a whopping 34 grams of sugar? Crazy, right? So you think whole wheat bread is the ultimate healthy choice? Well, hold on. It turns out that this healthy option can quickly turn into glucose in your body. Surprising, right? Let's dive into what that really means for your diet. Can you believe it? Even his fat-free frozen yogurt packs a whopping 25 grams of sugar in just one serving. Crazy, right? So, Bill took a moment to reflect on his eating habits and realized something shocking. He was actually consuming over 200 grams of sugar and refined carbs every single day. Can you believe it? That's way more than he ever had before he kicked off his so-called healthy diet. What a twist. You know, I've been focusing on the symptoms instead of getting to the root of the problem, he confided in Carol. Imagine you're in a high-stakes race and your engine's overheating. Instead of tackling the real problem, you just swap out the oil. It's a wild move, right? But that radiator? It's still broken. Bill completely flipped the script on his strategy, focusing on carbohydrates this time around instead of fats. He cut out all added sugars, refined grains, and those high-carb foods that everyone loves. Wow, you won't believe how different his new protocol looks. So, picture this. A delicious breakfast that starts with eggs, perfectly cooked in rich, creamy butter. Then, we add some fresh spinach and creamy avocado to the mix. It's a mouth-watering way to kick off the day. So picture this. It's lunchtime, and I'm diving into a vibrant salad. It's drizzled with a luscious olive oil dressing, sprinkled with crunchy nuts, and topped off with perfectly grilled salmon. Yum. So picture this. A delicious plate of grass-fed beef, perfectly seared, paired with a colorful medley of roasted vegetables, all drizzled with rich olive oil. It's a feast for the senses. Imagine this. You're feeling a bit peckish, and you reach for a handful of crunchy almonds or a slice of creamy cheese. Perfect little bites to satisfy that craving. Carol had her doubts. Bill, it seems like you're consuming more fat than you ever have in the past. Wait, are you really sure this is the right way? The data backs it up, Bill said, pulling out the research he had gathered. So here's the deal. Triglycerides are basically just carbohydrates that your body has stored away. By cutting out those extra carbs, I should see my triglycerides get back to normal. It was a jaw-dropping transformation that left everyone in awe. Just 2 weeks after cutting out sugar and refined carbs, Bill experienced a surge of energy like never before. It was as if he had unlocked a new level of vitality that he hadn't felt in years. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, something incredible happened. The weariness that had shadowed him since he hung up his boots vanished into thin air. It was like a weight lifted, and suddenly he felt alive again. But the ultimate challenge arrived during his next blood draw, 6 weeks into his new strategy. Dr. Wong couldn't believe his eyes as he scanned the lab results, a mix of shock and confusion washing over him. "Hey everyone, you won't believe this. Bill just got his test results back, and his triglycerides went from a whopping 720 all the way down to 120. Can you imagine that transformation? That's not just average. That's peak performance. What did you switch up?" Bill flipped open his notebook, ready to dive into his research. He guided Dr. Wong through his revised methodology, sharing insights and discoveries along the way. "I decided to cut out sugar and refined carbs, leaving fats behind." As Dr. Wong flipped through Bill's documentation, a spark of curiosity ignited within him, drawing him deeper into the details. "Wow, this is absolutely captivating. I have to be honest, a lot of my training revolved around the fat heart disease theory, but the evidence is clear." After achieving great success, Bill felt inspired to explore how he could use engineering principles to tackle other health challenges. The journey was just beginning, and he was ready to dive in. He dove into nutrition research like it was a thrilling puzzle, meticulously cross-referencing studies and uncovering hidden patterns, just like he did with technical challenges. "You know, the human body is like this incredibly intricate system," Bill said, turning to Carol with a spark in his eyes. "Instead of diving deep into the real mechanics, we usually just scratch the surface, addressing symptoms with old-school ideas." Bill's incredible transformation sparked a wave of inspiration among his retired Boeing colleagues, prompting them to take a hard look at their own health challenges. His systematic way of diving into nutrition research turned him into a legend among his friends. "Bill's treating his body like a finely tuned machine," his friend Dave pointed out, "and he's nailing those precision results." Fast forward 6 months, and Bill's triglycerides were holding steady at about 100. Plus, he managed to shed 25 pounds without even having to count calories. He felt a surge of vitality, reminiscent of the days when he was in his 40s. Dr. Wong decided to take a bold step by weaving Bill's groundbreaking research into her advice for patients struggling with high triglycerides. But she made sure to emphasize one crucial point: any dietary changes should always be done with a doctor's guidance. Stay tuned to see how this impacts her patients. "You won't believe what Bill taught me," Dr. Wong shares, looking back on the moment. "You know, sometimes the best answers are hidden in plain sight. It's all about challenging what we think we know and diving into the real data instead of just going along with what everyone else believes. Trust me, the truth can be surprising." Bill, with his engineering background, knew that the best solutions are often the simplest. But here's the catch. To find those gems, you first need to pinpoint the problem accurately. It's all about clarity before creativity. His triglyceride crisis was a classic case of mistaken identity. The real culprit wasn't the fat on his plate. It was the sneaky sugar hiding behind the guise of healthy eating. For 4 decades, I tackled challenges by diving deep into systems and uncovering the root causes, Bill shares today. Looking back, I realize I should have taken that same approach to my health right from the start. Bill's notebook from Project Triglyceride has turned into a go-to resource for his friends and family facing similar metabolic hurdles. It's amazing how one person's journey can inspire and guide others on their own paths. His methodical way of tackling nutrition keeps bringing in the same amazing results, time and time again. "The body reacts to stimuli just like any other system," Bill wraps up. When you provide the right inputs based on its actual workings, rather than our assumptions about how it should work, you can expect consistent and positive results. Today, Bill has managed to keep his triglycerides below 100 by cutting out sugar and sticking to whole, unprocessed foods. It's been quite the journey for him. His method for tackling health issues has transformed into a well-oiled machine, much like how he used to design aircraft. It's all about being systematic, relying on data, and delivering results every single time. Bill's journey was just the beginning. It sparked a change that reached far beyond his own health. In just 6 months, he developed something he proudly named the Henderson Protocol. This was not just any plan. It was a groundbreaking systematic approach to metabolic health, blending his engineering skills with solid, evidence-based nutrition science. The journey was nothing short of transformative. So picture this, a meticulous documentation that piqued the interest of none other than Dr. Jennifer Martinez, an endocrinologist at Seattle Medical Center, renowned for her expertise in metabolic disorders. Intrigued, she dove into the details, ready to uncover the story behind the data. So, guess what? She reached out to Bill and asked him to share his incredible case study at this big medical conference all about managing triglycerides. How cool is that? What Mr. Henderson achieved is a game changer in our understanding of metabolic health, Dr. Martinez shared with the captivated crowd of physicians and nutritionists. With his engineering background, he was able to spot patterns that we in the medical field often overlook because we stick to traditional protocols. After the presentation, Bill found himself reaching out to fellow Boeing retirees who were grappling with the same metabolic issues. It was a moment of connection and shared experiences that brought them together. So, picture this, a guy with a game plan that really works. He had 12 colleagues jump on board, and guess what? They all saw their triglyceride levels drop by an incredible 60% in just 8 weeks, all thanks to his sugar elimination protocol. Talk about a transformation.